Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to NAUI's Dive Team Report. I'm your host, Greg Martin. I love to think about dive sites around the world. And I love to go to different places and dive wherever I possibly can. And every time I go to one of my favorite dive sites, I try and take a few minutes and appreciate the beauty of the site. And I always take a bag with me. I always have a bag that I carry underwater, and I always pick up trash, and I always try and preserve my site the best I possibly can. Now, when you look at some of the dive locales around the country, there are some just incredible places that we can go dive or just appreciate the site for what it happens to be. The folks at NOAA, and we need to spend some time talking a little bit more about NOAA, perhaps on a different podcast. Those folks have taken it under their wing to protect as much of the dive sites and just the waterways and so forth as they possibly can. There's a group called the National Marine Sanctuaries that's part of NOAA. And we have talked a number of times, Flower Garden Banks, the Monitor site, the Great Lakes. We've talked a number of times with those folks about National Marine Sanctuaries. And I wanted to give you kind of a heads up on a couple of places that are on the radar right now for possible protection, proposed sites from the National Marine Sanctuaries. I've got a couple of lads on the phone with me today to talk about those. I have Paul Orlando is the regional coordinator with the proposed Mallows Bay Potomac River site. Is that right, Paul?
It is. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Sure. And we have Russ Green, regional coordinator for the proposed Wisconsin Lake Michigan National Marine Sanctuary site. Russ, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Now, one of these sites is a non-dive site, if I remember right. Which one?
That would be the Mallows Bay Potomac River site.
Okay, so we're just talking about a protection, a sanctuary protection of this site for environmental purposes, Paul?
No, actually, it's for the purpose of protecting our maritime heritage resources. This is a stretch of the Potomac River about 40 miles south of Washington, D.C. That is, despite its location, deceptively tranquil and quiet and peaceful. But it really is a time capsule of American history that goes back as far as the Native Americans and spans several eras of human occupation and interaction with the water. But its most central feature is really one of the remains of over 100 World War I era wooden steamships that have all found their way into this section of river through various means in shipbreaking operations through the year. So it is one of these places that, as you mentioned earlier, I think we recognize for its national significance for heritage and a place to come out and appreciate. And we're trying to do everything we can to protect the heritage and to get folks out on the water and interpret that portion of the heritage for them.
And Russ, Wisconsin, Lake Michigan, I mean, we're still talking about kind of Great Lakes areas. Talk a little bit about that site.
Yeah, this would be the second National Marine Sanctuary in the Great Lakes. There's an existing one in Thunder Bay. That's in Alpena, Michigan, in Lake Huron. And this would be the second. And really has a very similar purpose. There's about 39 wrecks in the proposed area. And the state of Wisconsin here has a rich maritime history that connects with the Great Lakes and connects with the nation. And that story of, just a vibrant, exploding economy in the 1800s and exploration and immigration, all of that story is captured here in the really well-preserved shipwrecks in this sanctuary and in others like Thunder Bay. It tells a story, but it's bigger than that. I mean, there's huge potential for archaeology and for history, but there's also this recreational component where these places can really help us drive heritage tourism and get people connected with the water, connected with history as well. So both sanctuaries really came about through a community-based nomination process, and communities now, even today, through the Marine Sanctuary community-based nomination process, if you've got a special place that you want protected, there's a criteria and a way for you to propose that, or at least to nominate that to the Marine Sanctuary System. So that's where we started in Wisconsin, and just a really rich history, almost 30 years of a state-run maritime archaeology program, which is administered through the Wisconsin Historical Society. These guys have been doing it a long time. They've done a lot of documentation, and In fact, in the proposed sanctuary, there's 18 wrecks on the National Register of Historic Places. So there's a rich history here, and we hope to, combine with the state to really elevate this place and bring more research focus and more tourism and really solid community impacts. That
is a dive site.
It is, yeah. So the wrecks here, if you picture in your mind the Great Lakes, way off to the left is Lake Michigan, and that's the big one that runs north to south. It's kind of long and skinny, and so we're on the Wisconsin side, and just a little bit north of Milwaukee is where the sanctuary starts, and it runs up almost to the foot of the Door County Peninsula, which is that bit that sticks off to the left in Wisconsin. So it's 1,100 square miles, and the shipwrecks range from just a few feet to a couple hundred feet. So really anything from kayaking and snorkeling to beginner divers, right up through technical diving, is here in this sanctuary.
So these are sites that are of really utmost importance to not only the region, but to the nation. And one of the things that has always fascinated me, and both of you guys can speak to this, I'm sure, is that NOAA is the NASA of the Earth. NASA is all about space exploration, and NOAA is all about exploring and preserving our Earth here in the States. But the budgets are vastly, vastly different. NASA has this astronomical kind of budget. NOAA does not. NOAA works really hard and scraps and scrapes for every dime that you guys get. Is there some way that we can help you guys out with that? Paul, you want to talk about that?
Oh, boy.
Is that $1 million question?
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what, the way I think I'd like to approach that one is really in the spirit of what Russ talked about earlier. These sanctuaries, especially the new ones that are undergoing designation at Mallows Bay, Potomac River, and Wisconsin Lake Michigan, these start with a community-based partnership. In my case, here it's with Charles County, Maryland. It's with the Maryland Department of Natural Resources and Maryland Historical Trust. It's kind of the primaries here, but there are so many organizations and so many people at so many levels that are part of a broader partnership. And I think it really is humbling to me and to Russ and to many of us to watch how the idea of creating a national marine sanctuary and preserving nationally significant heritage resources really is a catalyst for so many partnerships that carry with them money, they carry with them people, they carry with them services. And I think, going forward in the world, this is kind of the way we need to be thinking about these things. And having something that attracts people to a place the way that you have been attracted to talking to us and sites, I think is really the magic of what happens with national marine sanctuaries. It's that partnership with community that doesn't just begin and end with designation, but goes on in perpetuity. And we couldn't be happier about that kind of response from the local community.
So this is grassroots efforts here. It's folks like me that walk out to my spot on the Columbia River here up in eastern Washington and look out and go, oh, there's significance here. And then it would be up to me to come to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, log on sanctuaries.noaa.gov, and, anything you'll find your way to the nomination process as well. And, if you've got a special Great Lakes or ocean area, a place that you want to protect, check out the criteria and see if this is something that would be good for your area. Because, you said it so great, and it used to be more of a top-down process where there was a list, and, who knows how the list was compiled, but there was the list. And it didn't make any sense because the people that were passionate and knew the most about these places that could be the springboard for protecting them were at the local level. And so now we've got that, and as it moves forward, NOAA can weigh in with its expertise and the great expertise that's in the National Marine Sanctuary Program, from educators to archaeologists to biologists, and really make sure we've got a well-founded proposal by the time it may reach the designation proposal stage.
Absolutely fascinating, guys. I find the whole National Marine Sanctuary machine fascinating. If you as our listener are so inclined, be sure and check out the National Marine Sanctuary site. There is a plethora, and that's a big word for me to use today. There is a lot of great information out there, not just about these sites, but other sites as well. Check it out. I mean, these are places that need to be protected for whatever the reason happens to be, whether it's environmental or whether it's historical. And again, as I think you mentioned, Paul, they all have some type of a historical connotation to them. And a place like Potomac River, I mean, that was a central part of history, Civil War era, right?
It was. It's been from the nation's river. You really can point to several points in the timeline: Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War One, or at least World War One from the remains of these vessels being there. But yes, the history of the Potomac River, I think, is notorious in its own way, and certainly something that the public recognizes. And we're helping through the sanctuary designation process to promote access to this area, to promote interpretation, to promote the connection of people to these resources. And when you connect people to places that are their own backyards, they really tend to care about this. And that's what we're hoping happens in both of these two new places. The groundswell is there already, and I think, through the partnerships that we talked about earlier, we stand a chance to do some really great things, not just for the local communities or for the region, but hopefully for the country.
Fantastic, lads. I appreciate the time today to talk about this, the proposed Mallows Bay Potomac River site and the proposed Wisconsin Lake Michigan sanctuary site. Paul, Russ, thank you so much, gentlemen, for talking with us about it. And we're going to come back and talk to you as soon as we get the designations for those sites and get people out there to appreciate the hard work that you guys have done. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you. Thank you for sharing with your audience. We look forward to seeing you guys out our way sometime soon.
Absolutely. And for you, our listeners, you be sure and check out the National Marine Sanctuaries website. You can also check out NAUI.org. If you're not a diver and would like to get out there, check out your local NAUI dive shop as well. NAUI, NAUI.org, or check out National Marine Sanctuaries online. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the NAUI Dive Team Report. Appreciate you being along and listening. I'll see you underwater.